cars, but that's not what I do now. So I'm just trying to show you that I think in Ephesians it says that we are to redeem the time. Ephesians chapter 5, verse 14. Redeem the time, making the best of every opportunity in order to change your life. That's what free will is about. So even though you are in Jamaica, which you'll probably be there for 4 years, and your goal is to preach the gospel, I hope that may not even be your final goal, to be honest with you. You don't know, where the path that you're going to take, but you can guide that path by making decisions right now. So if I were you, I would start, maybe taking some subjects, looking at maybe higher education, see if I can take some evening classes, some night classes while I'm there in Jamaica. What is it that I can do to up my game? Because you have the opportunity. You can't wait till you get back to your parish or your country and then decide, well, you know what? I'm going to now decide what I want to do. This is the time for you to start making those decisions right now. Decisions may be as simple as the girls you decide to hang out with. I remember some of the students were, dating girls who were not even Christian because maybe they were more attractive, they were more beautiful, I guess. I don't know. So that's how they spend their time, and what happens is that sometimes those kinds of decisions come back to haunt you because, things could happen. And then later as you grow up, you find out that the girl that have you ever found maybe a girl that when you were in high school, when you were much younger, 12, 13, 14, a girl who looked like she was an angel, very beautiful. Now that you're older, now that you look at her now, you say, wow, what happened? Something went wrong. You follow? You're not attracted to her in any way, So what I'm saying to us is we've got to begin to make decisions and be very careful. Yes, go ahead.
No, sir, I didn't have your question. No, sir, you can go ahead.
Okay, now, do we have 3 students, right? Is that what we have?
Yes, sir. One of the students just joined now.
Okay, good. So what I'm saying is that you're going to be making decisions every day in your life. And you have to be sure that, you put a lot of thought into it, a lot of wisdom into it, a lot of praying about it before you actually make that final decision. And, the Bible really has given us some guidelines about some decisions. One of the things he says is that we ought not to be unequally yoked. Let me ask you this question. What do you think the verse mean by saying you are not to be unequally yoked? What does that passage, what's the message there?
Based on my understanding of it, if I, stand on the background of the book, it is that, Paul was speaking to the Corinthians brethren to say to them that, they are not out to be having like fellowship with the unbelievers, because as they are doing that, they might be drawn away, from who they were, from being a Christian. They might, go back to their old life, because they will be eventually influenced by those whom they are having fellowship with.
Let me ask you this. Do you see that there may be some common sense in that? Doesn't your own experience tell you that?
Yes, sir.
So, because I know that generally you tend to say to me, when I ask about the Bible, you tend to start out by saying, when I look at the background of the text. Why do you need to look at the background of the text? Just look around you. Common sense tell you that, isn't it? If someone is doing drugs and packing a gun, you know, what does common sense tell you about that person in terms of association?
Sir, just don't be close to that person.
So what I'm saying, yeah, what I'm saying to us is sometimes I think we get carried away that, God has given us common sense.
Well, sir, I mean,
You don't need a commentary to tell you the background of something.
the whole reason why is that we want to make sure that we are giving the right interpretation, because I may say that and someone has another idea about it. So
but listen to me. Listen to me. Listen to me. Common sense. Paul was using common sense. That's why he made that statement. There's no background here. The common sense throughout history, common sense over time. If you for the first time you're coming around fire, okay, and you want to figure it out, looks good, and you put your hand in it, what happens? You don't need someone to give you the history and the background. You've learned something by putting your hand in the fire that you won't do it anymore, would you?
No.
Okay, so Paul was using common sense.
Yes, sir.
So sometimes we become so, I guess we want to impress that we're very educated and we have some sense, and we want to be able to use these nice phrases. But my brothers and sisters, the Bible was written to the ordinary common person. And God has given us, if you look at the new covenant in Jeremiah, remember Jeremiah said that the word God had, the difference in the new covenant, he's placed it in you.
Sir.
Yes, sir.
Good morning, sir.
Good morning.
I don't think you should I'm not gonna say you're bashing the brother. I think he made the right approach in answering your question, because if he did not do that, maybe you would have something else to say.
How would you have something else to say when you look around you? Let me ask you a question. If you see someone smoking weed and doing drugs, but you see the police close by watching, are you going to go hang out with our brother, shake his hand? How you doing? Would you?
No, sir. No, sir.
Do you need Paul to tell you? Do you need to get the verse in context here to know? Wouldn't common sense prevail here? Paul was using a common sense approach to things. He was saying, look, if someone is an infidel, you don't believe what you believe in God, you don't go marry that person, you don't start a business with that person, because you can't trust them. Isn't that what the message is?
Yes.
Well, let me ask you a question. Would you go and loan money to someone that's not going to pay you back?
If it is something I afford to lose, I will do it.
Right, but what I mean is, you may say, for example, people come to me and they say, look, Brother Davis, can I get a loan? But I already know I'm not going to get it back. So then I have to make an assessment. You know what? I'll give you I'm not going to give you a loan. I'll help you out. Yes. Because I already know that person is just using that phrase. It has no meaning behind it. You understand? So what I'm saying is, sometimes the scriptures are using common sense. It's a common sense approach. So no matter how deep you dig into it, right, it is still common sense.
Yes, sir. I agree with you, sir. But you have to if you are around certain people, you need to give according to how you know it. So
exactly, experience teaches you that. Your grandmother told you that. You don't need to go back to Paul. Your grandmother already told you that, I hope.
Well, sir, what would be the purpose of using the passage then? We could have taken example of the everyday life. we wouldn't have to use it because really and
That,
truly, we know that it always says that bad what?
bad company corrupts, right?
Yes, yes.
That's exactly the point.
We wouldn't
That's
have,
exactly my point.
but since you use the verse, sir, I have to explain according to the verse. I wouldn't go to common sense.
Well, but the verse, the point that I'm making is the passage was really a common sense approach because it wasn't a new idea. The Old Testament had already emphasized that. Wisdom had already over time teaches that. All of the people in the Old Testament, the kings and so on, got into trouble because they used poor judgment.
Yes, sir.
So that's the point that I wanted to make here. Sometimes we get so boxed into the technical history of the passage and we got to look at this and we got to look at that and we, but the bottom line is, hey, you're wasting my time, common sense. I could spend a whole lecture and that passage showing you the background and showing you this and showing you that. You're wasting my time. Common sense. You don't build a relationship with people you can't trust. You don't go out and marry a woman who don't share your views. Like, for example, why would you marry a Muslim and not expect trouble down the road?
I don't know why.
Trouble with her in-laws. First of all, they're going to insist that you have to be circumcised to begin with. You follow? I mean, there's going to be all kinds of problems you're going to have down the road. So you really, what I'm saying to you is that's just a common sense issue, isn't it?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
So a lot of decisions, if you have to pull the Bible out to read it first before you decide who you're going to date and who you're going to invest your life with, you got a problem, wouldn't it?
Well, you have to, sir, because the Bible is there as our guidance, as our counselor too. So most of the things that we are facing in life, so we can go through the Bible and find our way out of them.
Give me one example of a situation that may arise that you don't have the information on yet.
You will, but you will need clearance, sir. Clearance, like what would the Bible want me to do in that situation? Because sometimes we know them, but we are still tempted doing another thing. But we must now, read the Bible that we can strengthen ourselves and say, well, this is the right decision to make. I'm not going to do what my flesh is telling me,
So you have to go to the Bible to research it first.
Yes, sir. Most likely for us who are Christians, sir.
I have news for you. Then what will happen? You're going to get into trouble, and then you're going to feel guilty when you come and look at the Bible and say, I did something wrong. You remember what James says? James, I'm just playing with you guys right now, because James really says you have to receive the implanted word. That's why at home, mom and dad should do their best to make sure that they teach their children everything they need to teach them, so that when they get to a certain age, by the time you have to wait until you're 21 and in your adult life to go back and study the Bible to figure out whether or not you should have sex before getting married, you got a problem. You should already learn that in primary school. You should have already learned that. You follow at home.
Yes, sir. I agree.
So much of what we're doing in the church in our adult classes are probably situations that maybe the home failed to do. Jesus was only about 11 or so when he was in the temple reading and breaking these people back with the interpretation of the scriptures, because they had no clue. So all I'm saying is that every day you're faced with decisions. And your parents hopefully have given you enough information to help you to make those decisions. Unfortunately, some of our parents never did that. And so you are now making decisions in ignorance. That's going to be very costly for you. And so that's the point that I really wanted to hammer home. So now that you are at JSP, you're going to be there for 4 years. And you really need to sit down and figure out the direction of your life. What do you want out of life? And use those 4 years to get all the skills, whatever you need to get to where you need to be in terms of fulfilling your goals.
All right, so I have a question, sir.
Yes.
As we are talking about here, like making decisions, because we are always find situations like where we need to make decisions. And you've spoken about parents who need to teach you from childhood to make decisions in spite of the situations that you're facing. Now, for me, since I came here in Jamaica, so I always, even for the least of the thing, you know, speak to my parents. Most likely my mother, you know, to ask her for guidance. If I'm going to do something, I ask her what she think about it. What shall I do, you know? So I want to know, because for some people, this is like home because everything you have to say to your mother and stuff. So is it like a dependence or is it something normal in your point of
Well, I don't see that as dysfunctional. I see that as wise. First of all, it means that you trust your mother, you trust her guidance. So that's not dysfunctional. That's the right thing to do. So, but you have to also weigh what she says at the end of the day. For example, some parents may want you to be a doctor, but you hate blood. You can't, you want to do something else. So there may be conflicts at times in terms of what the parents want and what you feel is in your best interest. And you have to make those decisions.
yes,
So that's kind of where, things are with that. But it is not dysfunctional. It is not bad, because who would you get your information from? Somebody who you don't trust, or somebody who don't know you? She brought you into the world. She loves you. Her judgment is not going to hurt you. She's giving you the best that she has to offer you.
Yes, sir. What happened now, you know, when the COVID vaccine came, you know, with all the misinformation and stuff. So I was in a really tight situation. I could not make any decision for myself. And when I spoke to her now, she could not help me out because she doesn't know anything about it. And she was afraid if she said, yes, I have to take it, then something may happen later and she will regret. And the same, she didn't want to say no, you know, so it was a really tight situation. So I've taken some time before I can say, well, if she doesn't feel okay to say yes or no, I'm going to make it for myself. And it was a hard time for me, hard period, because even after I take it, I'm saying, well, if something bad happened now, who is going to support me? Because she didn't approve me to take it, or she didn't say no either. Now I'm not going to find anybody to say, well, you know, you have to support me because you gave me the idea to take it or anything. So that was kind of bad for me.
Well, I'm fully vaccinated and I'm still worried about it. I don't know what's going to be down the road. So, I mean, that's a legitimate situation that your mom don't have the answers, neither. I don't know of anyone that have the answers, to be honest with you. This is a situation where you're going to step out in faith and do what you feel you need to do. And so you're hoping at this point that God is going to keep you safe and protect you. You've taken the vaccine, that you're hoping that, good things will happen from it. So there comes a faith situation. And so and your mother is concerned. So I'm sure that she's going to be struggling with taking the vaccine herself.
Yes.
She's going to. So there are many people who are struggling with the vaccine.
Yes.
But right now, the governments are taking that away from us. They're saying that you have to, okay? Or you will be punished in some way. If you work, you lose your job. So eventually, and for example, if you want to go back to Haiti, I don't know what the situation is. I think in some countries, if you've taken the vaccine, if you've been vaccinated, when you go back to your country, you don't have to quarantine. As long as you take the 72 hours. So that may be in your best interest when you go back to Haiti to visit.
Yes.
Can you imagine if you have to go to Haiti to visit for 2 weeks and you got to spend those 2 weeks in quarantine and not be able to see your parents?
Sir.
Yes.
I have taken the vaccine, right? I traveled to Canada, and currently I am on quarantine.
Yeah. Okay, so Canada hasn't changed their rules.
So you at the airport you have to show a proof of vaccination.
Right.
You can't.
Right.
So I don't
yeah, go ahead.
I don't see sense in taking the vaccine and then you have to quarantine for 8 days.
No, I agree with that, to be honest with you, because I went to St. Vincent and I was fully vaccinated and I had to spend 48 hours, which is really 2 days in a hotel, that the government had me place me there and then I had to pay for it. However, I am supposed to be going back to the same island, St. Vincent, December 8th. They've changed their rules now. Since I'm fully vaccinated, and if I get a PCR test, I will no longer have to be quarantined. So they just changed that rule. So that's a good thing, I think. And so more and more is going to change. But you are correct. If I'm fully vaccinated and all of that, why am I still quarantining?
You have to pay for it, sir?
Yes, I had to pay for the hotel. It's not free.
No, you have to pay for the PCR test?
No. In the United States, it's free here. We don't have to pay for it.
You have to pay.
No. The vaccine and everything is free, so you don't have to pay for that. So that's great. That's good here. But again, it's a money-making business. That's why people are suspicious about this whole process, because somebody's making money. The drug company is making money. But it is, I feel personally, it's the right thing to do, is to be vaccinated, because you're protecting yourself and you're protecting others as well. So I would recommend that you take the vaccine and you take it as quickly as possible, because you're protecting yourself. You know, think about this. Let's say there's an 85-year-old member of the church who you need to take the communion to. You need to go and pray with and spend time with. Would you be comfortable not being vaccinated, going to that lady's home, knowing that you may be taking with you the COVID, and then she gets COVID and die? How would you feel?
But the thing about it, sir, the vaccine doesn't prevent you from getting the COVID. So
That is true.
Having the vaccine inside your body doesn't protect the lady either.
But listen to this though. Listen to this. If I do everything that science said that I need to do, I expect God to do his portion. If I humanly have done everything that I need to do, my God needs to do what he needs to do. You follow? Then why, if God is all powerful and I serve him and I have done all that I can, why can't he have my back? I'm doing his bidding. I'm doing his work. I expect him. I do expect him to come and do what he needs to do, and he knows how to do best. That's all I'm saying. That's where faith comes in.
He may choose not to, sir.
Huh?
They choose not to do so.
And if he chooses not to, then I have to say he's ready to take her home or he's ready to take me home. You follow?
Yes.
I mean, that's how I'm going to see it. But God expects me to do the best that I can. And science has says this is the best way to go. So when I do that, then I trust and faith. So I get vaccinated. Next week, I'll be getting the booster shot. Okay? I'll be getting the booster shot next week because I go into people's homes and I want to be sure that at least I've done everything to make sure that they're safe.
Yes, sir.
And I hope that they will do the same for me, that when I go into their home, whether to do a prayer with them, to take the Lord's Supper with them, or maybe just someone who is sick and I have to go and buy groceries for them to take for them because that's what the Good Samaritan is about.
Yes, sir.
And sometimes we have to put ourselves at risk in order to help. You know, God forbid that you should go and visit your mom, who may be, or your grandmother for that matter, who has never been outside, been, isolated at home. And all of a sudden you go in there, not vaccinated. Next thing you know, she's in the hospital. To me, that's carelessness. When you know that science says that this is one way to protect yourself. As a matter of fact, those people who are in St. Vincent, about over 70 people already have died, and all of them are unvaccinated. So, I mean, you got to think about this thing. Seriously,
Sir,
go ahead. Yes.
But you know that science not always accurate. So their assumption may be right. If you quarantine, you'll be more safer.
Well, I mean, it is obvious. It is a fact, though. I work in a jail, okay, and so I'm at high risk in terms of in that community. But I wash my hands. That's why I got vaccinated in the first place. So I wanted to get that part out of the way, and I wear my mask. When I go to work in the jail, I wear 2 masks. I don't wear 1. I wear 2. No one asked me to wear 2. I make a decision. I'm going to wear 2 masks. I'm going to stay away. In my office, because I'm in mental health there. In my office, I have about 8 feet where the chair is from me. So when the prisoner comes in, he sits about 8 that far from me. He's not allowed to touch anything in my office. Okay? I open the door myself. He doesn't touch the doorknob. I do that myself. Okay? So what I'm saying is I'm using wisdom to do everything I can to protect myself and to protect. Because, someone may be in jail. They've been there for 30 years. How are they going to get the COVID? Unless one of the workers, like myself, bring it in. And so whenever a prisoner comes down with the COVID, it means one of the workers, take it into them, which is not fair to them, is it?
It could be a new prisoner.
Yeah, I mean, if they've been incarcerated 15, 20 years, they've been there, right?
Yes, sir.
They're not exposed to the community. It's the workers that's taking it in.
Sir.
Yes.
We are going to, just switch now from speaking about the vaccine and stuff, because I'd like to, get this correctly, and so we can continue to the other slide.
Yes.
As being a Christians, we, I think the purpose of your classes are not only just to teach us or to, deal with life situation, but most likely with the church and with the work that we are going to have as preachers. I was just thinking the other day that, situations are just like obligations too, because no matter what, we have to deal with them. Either we do the right thing about them, or either we do the wrong choice. The Bible, let me say Jesus asked us in the Great Commission that we should, go everywhere preaching the gospel. And we see this is what the first Christians, they have done. As they were persecuted, they went everywhere preaching the gospel. Then Paul is one of the greatest example of that. He did not stay in only one place. He went here and established the gospel. He went here, established the gospel, and so on. So which means that now that we also have, as preachers, shouldn't be, in just only one place or one congregation and preaching. The work of evangelism is very important. Now, since we have a command from the Bible, we must obey. And if not, we are most likely disobedient. And who knows, we might lose our salvation for that. Now, the question is, as this situation calls us, to rent, say, for example, to the places that are considered to be dangerous, like where there is gunmen and stuff. If we want to take it further, from what I've heard concerning North Korea, these people here, most likely, I'm not sure, but they may not know concerning the Bible and stuff because they are not allowed to concerning the law of their government. Now, is it not our duty as preacher, to go to these places and preach the gospel and do whatever? So what are we going to do with this situation now? How do we deal with that?
I can tell you from my personal experience, I go to China before the COVID started, which the country locked down. I go to China 3 times a year. When I go there, I can't openly preach the gospel or hand out material. I'll be arrested and put in jail. But it hasn't stopped me. I find creative ways to do that. So right now I've done like 6 baptisms so far over there, over the years since I've been going, okay? One time I took 150 Bibles in. When I got to the custom, the officer stopped me and took away the Bible, took away everything, put me in a room. I was there for like 4 hours in this room. And he didn't speak English, and I don't speak, Mandarin either. So he eventually, got a supervisor to come in. The supervisor asked me what I'm doing with these things. But what I did was I teach English. So what I did was the Bible had English on one side and Mandarin on the other side. So it was like the Bible. So I said to him, I'm going to a school, I teach English, and this is the material that I tend to use. He called the school. The school verified that I teach. I don't know what they're talking because they're speaking, but I'm assuming that this is what was said, this is what I was doing. And then he said, and then I sat there for maybe another hour, and the guy came back and says, just wave his hand and say, go, 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 go. So I was happy. They released me. I left. Then he said, come back, and got pointed. And the man allowed me to take the Bible. Okay. Okay. So you have to make the assumption I could have been in prison. You follow? But I believe that God was involved in that situation. So I was able to take the Bible. Each of the students got a copy of it. And so I'm teaching English, but I'm also there on the other side, we explain, and so there were questions about Jesus, who he is. So I'm able now to do that. Of course, under the guise that I am teaching English. So that's how I survived there. But it didn't stop me. I still go. I'm waiting for them to reopen. As soon as they reopen, I'm on a plane there. Obviously, I can't go and put up a sign. I can't do all of this stuff, right? But I'm able to go into people's home privately. One Christmas, I went to a factory because I wanted to know American culture and Christmas, what that looked like. So I'm in this place and I am talking about, I had a PowerPoint presentation But remember, the topic is about the American culture, right? About Christmas. So
Yes.
it gave me the opportunity to explain the meaning of Christmas, about Jesus and the whole thing. Do you know one of the scientists? This man is a scientist, okay? An engineer with a master's degree. He asked me if he can get CDs of Jesus. He was associating Jesus with Michael Jackson, okay? He had no clue. I mean, so my question is, how can a man go through a master's degree and not know that Jesus is not a pop star, but he wanted CDs of Jesus? And it saddens me how they can go through in China, get all of this and not even study anything about Christianity, nothing in the literature, so that he could ask me that question. And yet he's much more educated in technology than I am, and in his field than I am. As an engineer, that's what he does, basically. So what I'm saying is, you are perfectly correct. These people have a soul, and we are commanded to take the gospel, but just use common sense. Remember, I use the word common sense. Don't be stupid. Don't go hand out tracts on the street. You'll be arrested. And you don't want to be arrested in China, okay? You don't want to go to their jail in China because you're lost. You're done, basically. Even Chinese who go to jail get lost in the system. But these Chinese do have a soul, and we still have the commitment of taking the gospel to them, irrespective, because remember Habakkuk says the just shall live by faith. It's always about faith, but you gotta have the conviction. When I was in that room sitting there panicking, okay, not knowing whether or not I'll be going to jail that day, okay, I believe that God, not only did they release me, but I got to take the Bibles with me, which I never thought that would happen. But I was able to take the Bibles with me.
What about the dangerous places, like the gunmen places and stuff like this?
No, I don't. I avoid. What I do is I go with. I take a Chinese person with me. Students go with me where in the countryside, wherever I go, so that I'm protected.
Now I'm not talking like about overseas, I'm like talking, about like Haiti or Jamaica. There are a lot of like ghetto places.
No, I lived in Jamaica for 7 years. And the last time I was in Jamaica, I went to Digicel, downtown Jamaica, right? Digicel, in order to get a SIM card to put in my phone. And a Jeep pull over with gunmen, police officers in uniform with big machine guns. And the man says, come on, take off. And the man, it wasn't even nice about it. Asked me to take off my ring, take off my chain. So I thought, I didn't understand what he said. Put it in your pocket, put it in your pocket. And then he said, where are you going? He said, get back in your car, follow me. And he took me all the way up to New Kingston to a Digicel store to get my, and he said, don't you ever do that, you'll be killed. Because they see that gold around your neck and that gold ring on your finger, they will rob you. And not only will they take the stuff, they will probably take your life in the process. Now, this is a police officer did that for me. So yes, there are difficult places and you have to use some common sense. So if you're going to go there, don't carry your jewelry. The iPhone, the man told me to make sure my phone stay in my pocket, that I don't have my iPhone in my hand, because they will take it. And not only will they take it, they will hurt you. And he said, especially if you refuse to give it to them. So that's the kind of, and that's in Jamaica now. I'm telling you, downtown Jamaica, this happened. Not uptown. Actually, he took me up Kingston 7. That's where they took me. There's a Digicel uptown there, right? Big Digicel store. That's where the man took, but I was downtown. From the airport, I drove my rental car downtown to go to a Digicel store. But I didn't know which one, so I kept asking people and walking around trying to find the store, right? Park my car. But the police officer, they were watching me. And they knew I was a tourist, okay? because I had this gold chain on, and and I had my phone in my hand. I had the phone in my hand as well. Okay. And so they were watching me because they knew that sooner or later somebody was going to, and I was lucky that day that they were as nice as they were. They had a Jeep, with guns, and they're dressed in an army uniform kind of. They didn't dress like regular police. They dressed like military people with machine guns. And this is like 2 years ago in downtown. So, we're just going to have to use, I kept using the phrase common sense. And that's what I think is, and that's divine wisdom. When I say common sense, I mean wisdom.
Well,
but yes, you're going to have to go downtown. You can't take the gospel only to uptown. Okay.
yes,
But
sir.
you have to be smart enough. You got to be street smart. That's what I'm trying to say. Street smart to be able to take the gospel to those folks that are down there.
All right, I was gonna say that for some of us, the common sense would be not to go there at all.
Well, but you have a commission though. These people have souls. Remember, God is not asking you to go to rich and save souls.
Yes, sir.
All people need, and the more you do your job, the more people are going to put their guns down. Once people are converted, they're going to get rid of their bad behavior and put the guns down. And so you have a duty to do that. Now, I've been robbed when I was in the school of preaching. I was robbed downtown. Robbed. Okay. I can tell you stories. We don't have the time to. I was robbed in Hope Gardens. You know Hope Gardens?
No.
You don't know Hope. You're right there. Hope Gardens right across from you. Where they have the flower, the botanic, it's like a park.
We don't really know these places, sir.
You never went there? Come on, man.
Not me, but I'm not sure.
Brother Kiddu live in that area.
Oh, yes, sir. I know this place.
Okay. I was robbed in that place. And the young lady that I was with was raped also. Okay.
Yes, sir.
So I know. I know how difficult things can be at times. And it was like about 6 o'clock. We're sitting on the bench, relaxing. 3 people came in, and we thought, since it was 2 men and a girl, so because the lady was there, we thought we were safe. But we weren't safe. So we just have to be. We shouldn't have been there because they at 6 o'clock they closed the iron gate. There's an iron gate. They closed. So we should have left a little earlier when everybody was leaving, and we didn't. So again, it was an indicator of poor judgment, right?
Yes, sir.
So I'm just saying, common sense, wisdom dictates, but you can't allow your fear to cripple you doing what God wants you to do, and that is to take the gospel. And if you have a privilege to go to Haiti or go to, I would imagine in the big city in Haiti is a little very difficult. You have to be street smart. You have to be wise. And like any big city, like downtown Kingston, you have to be wise. One of the like in China, I'm told when they kind of like let you know what you should and what you shouldn't do. And they were saying, never put your wallet in your back pocket. But I have a habit of my wallet's in my back pocket. And they were telling me that they can, sometimes your pants have a button, you put it in that holds the wallet in. These guys can unbutton that without you even knowing and take your wallet, without you even knowing. And they demonstrated it for us, how they do it. Because they are good at what they do. Okay. So they say always keep your wallet in your front pocket. Or you have one of those bags where you wrap around your waist and it's tied around your waist and the zipper is in your front with the wallet in it.
If they can even get that away too.
Huh?
If they can even get that away too.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So basically the rule is you leave everything that's valuable at home. That's what you do.
Yes, sir.
You leave everything that's valuable at home. And then, so again, we're talking about common sense. And a lot of the situations that you're going to be coming up on really requires common sense. That is divine wisdom. And it's going to be in your dating style, your dating habits. It's going to be, how you decide to make a living. What are the choices that you're going to do? And maybe at your age, one of the greatest challenge for you right now would be whether or not, for example, if you look at the preachers in Jamaica, that most of the ones that are doing very well have a second job in order to support themselves. So you being as young as you are, getting ready to go into the ministry a couple of years from now, those are the tough questions because you're going to be faced with a situation. How am I going to care for my family? What is going to be my income? What do I need to do? Do I need to be able to, for example, I'm thinking of people that I know. There was a gentleman we had from Haiti. I think he's a professor now, but if you think like, does any of you know Derek Brown?
Yes, sir.
Derek, you know what his real profession is?
Something like election stuff. I'm not sure.
Precisely. While he was in school preaching, he was doing all of that, right? So he was able to have that business and able to do full-time preaching at the same time because he had a way of supporting his family. And that's what I'm saying to you. Now that you're young, you're going to be faced with all of those situations that you have to make some decision. So you may want to now take some courses, maybe at the university, wherever you can do, to make sure that maybe you'll be able to preach, but you may be able to teach in the school, in the secular school as well. So you have an income. Like say, Brother Francis, he's able to teach in the secular system as well.
Sure.
Be able to, yes, go ahead.
I'm glad that point is brought up though. I think that the school should do a better job in training the young preachers to have a skill. So I know that the Bible is good, but more than the Bible, you need money to support yourself and your family. So
Exactly.
I think people should incorporate some sort of skill where the young men can use it to support themselves.
I agree 100%.
That's
And that's where you guys, the students, need to sit down and start having that discussion with the administration. And they may have to give you time to be able to do that. Like, for example, remember I said to you, I was a mechanic. So when I came to the United States, I was able to do two things. I was able to work as a mechanic and preach, and I got income from both of those in order to go to college. You follow? So I was able to repair cars, and then I was able to on Sunday to preach, and they pay me for preaching. And I also work in the week as a mechanic. I was able to get money from there, and then I was able to pay my way to school. So if I didn't have that skill as a mechanic, I would not have been able to, what they were paying me on a Sunday morning to preach wouldn't have been enough. And so if you go back to Haiti or you go in Jamaica, you would notice that the congregation you're working for, the weekly contribution is not enough to even, in some instances, to purchase the communion, not to mention to pay your salary. So as a young man, you need to, and if the school failed to do it, you have to do what you need to do. And I'm suggesting to you, you start thinking about what your talents are. What is it that you can supplement with? Maybe mechanic, maybe not, maybe fixing computers. Maybe that's your calling. Maybe you are a person who would like to teach, and it would be beautiful because eventually I was able to work in the school system, which means I'm able to get a good retirement system now. If I go to Jamaica to preach for church, I don't need an income from the church. I have enough in my retirement that I got from the secular system. So I'm not going to have to burden the church for anything. So one of the things you may want to consider is to probably consider getting some O-level. They don't call it O-levels. I don't know what they call it now in the Caribbean. Get some subjects so that eventually you can go to the community college and eventually go to the, get a 4-year degree and then maybe get a teaching license. So you can also think about this. As a teacher, you don't have to work on Sunday and Saturday. It's perfect. And then in some school, you get off at 3 o'clock. That means you do the rest of the time, you could work with the church full time. And then you have a good salary coming at the same time that allows you to do that. Those are the decision making that you need to be thinking about. You're young right now. And so your focus really shouldn't be on, although I also think it is critical to find a wife that can supplement what you're doing. You follow?
Yes, sir.
And you need to make a list of what that woman should bring to the table. You need to make a list. This is the woman that I want, and have all the things that and you check off. Yes, she meet this one, she meet this one, she meet this one, she meet this one.
Some people don't agree with that, sir. When I say,
Oh, I did. I did get into trouble with that, by the way, because my wife found that paperwork maybe about 5 years later. Okay, she found it, and it had all of this stuff on it that she had to have. Okay, and she wasn't happy with some of the stuff on it. Okay, but what I'm saying to you is that you need to be that detailed. You need to be that detailed, as to what you want to have. I mean, if you think about, say, Brother Kiddu, right? Now his wife is a medical doctor, right?
yes, sir.
So she is educated enough to supplement what he's doing intellectually. They could have a conversation in the same level. You see how it matches?
Yes, sir.
Perfectly. So if Brother Kiddu decide to be a full-time minister or preach, his wife can teach the latest. I mean, she's just that intelligent to be able, they could be a team, perfect team, working with a local congregation. That's how you have to think. Because those are decisions that you're going to have to, because you're probably dating somebody now as I speak. Okay. So you have to be able to begin to, to look at that person and make that list and see whether or not, that's the person you want to spend the rest of your life with.
Yes, sir.
And if the answer start saying no, then you need to say goodbye. I mean, those are the decisions, those are the situations I'm talking about. Every day you have to make the tough decisions. But the brother makes a strong statement there about maybe the school need to really rethink and encourage you guys and make it easy for you guys to find opportunities to better yourself, and to, while you're doing the Bible piece, that you could be doing something else at the same time.
Yes, sir. That would be very important.
Yeah, there was a young man called Dudley. He used to be a student there with us. Dudley. I think he actually went into fixing like radios and stuff like that. He may still be doing that. And as a way of supplementing. Goody was a printer. He used to print all the material in school preaching. And we had a printing press. And he used to take some of the students to train them to do what he was doing. And I think that's what he did. After he graduated, I think he did both of working printing, and he was very good at it. Very good at it, but he learned it right in the school, because the school had its own. The school would print all of the material, had a printing press, and all the tracks and everything. Goody used to print those. Basically, the school had that printing press, and that's what he did, and he was able to teach other students how to do that as well.
Okay, sir.
So that's a very good question. And that's something you really need to bring up, you know, with your teachers to be able to help you guys to better spend this 4 years in such a way that it can be a lot more productive. Because after you graduate, the school says goodbye. You know that, right?
Sir,
Yes.
sorry to say, but our time is up now.
I'm so happy the time is up, but I enjoy this discussion actually.
Yes, sir, I did also.
I really do.
The only thing that I'm most likely having trouble here, like in regards to your classes, is that we always have difficulty to get the material. I've asked you for it. You said you're gonna send it.
Did you send me the email?
Yes, I did. And you say, you could have just attached the material to it.
Okay, I will do that today. Let me know what's your last name again? The email you sent me. Send me an email right now. Let me do it right now.
All right, let me type it in the chat, sir.
Remember, this material is not edited, okay? Okay, let me send it. Let me close this, close that. Okay, where's the email?
I sent it, sir.
Okay, so let me see, how do I do that? Hold on, let me see, let me go to the mail, right? Okay, hold on, don't leave yet. Okay, where is your email? Where is your email? I don't see it here.
It is in the chat here, sir.
Oh, I thought we sent it in the chat. Okay, how do I get it in the chat though? Okay, chat. Okay, hold on, maybe. Oh, okay, yeah, I see it. Okay, hold on, cut and paste it, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay, just stay with me 1 minute, hold on.
No problem.
Okay, hold on, let me just go do here. So I go to, where's the send, where's the mail send? I hate this thing. How do you send a mail?
You don't
Where is? Yeah, I'm looking for something that says send. I just changed up my computer, and I can't find where it says send. Okay, let me.
Did you see the attachment icon or the attachment sign?
No, I have to see where you write a new mail. There's something that says write a new mail.
Oh no, I think it should write compose, something like this.
You know what? You send me a mail and it's easier because I can't, I don't see anything that says, because I did in my computer and I can't, they change the whole format. Everything looks different.
All right, sir, no problem.
Oh, hold on. Okay. Oh, there, new mail. Okay, new mail. All right, I found it. Okay, paste. Okay, so I paste that and then I go to where it says insert. Is that insert? Insert. What am I inserting? Oh, file. Sorry, file. And then I go to my desktop.